I have come to the conclusion that doing 2 months worth of a book haul at once is a bad idea, or at least it makes me feel like a hoarder. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Bean here, and today I'm coming at you with a book haul. Now, this book haul encompasses the past 2 months, so the month of May, along with the month of June. I have 39 books here, guys, so grab yourselves a snack and a drink, cup of coffee, maybe a mug of tea might be a little bit better, and get comfy. This is gonna be a while. I have these split up into a couple different groups, and I'll just kind of go through them really quickly. I'm not going to explain every single book because otherwise we will be here for the whole day, and as much as I'd love to talk to you guys for that long, that's just not realistic. We're just not going to do that. No one wants to listen to my voice for that long, let's be honest here. The first thing I'm going to start with is actually an ARC that I got. I haven't gotten a physical ARC in a while, but this one comes out in October. This book comes out October 13th, 2020. So this is Tsarina by Ellen Alpsten. I think that's how you say it. I don't know a lot about this one. It's a bit of a chunker book. The tagline for this one, really what I know about it, since I'm assuming it's an Anastasia retelling. Not sure, don't quote me on that. But it says, in a few hours I might be dead, or I'll be the most powerful woman in all the Russias. It takes place in St. Petersburg in 1725, and it says this is the ultimate Cinderella story. So I'm not sure what this is, but I am intrigued. I love this cover. This is a really kind of a cool style. I did end up winning this in a giveaway, so I am intrigued to read this. It says Surf Murderous Empress, so I'm intrigued. I want to read it, and I know that I'm also going to be giving it to at least one friend once I've finished so that they can try it, and honestly, it's the best way to get the word out about books. So yeah, this is my first book in this haul. The next 3 books that I'm going to show you are going to be the books that Callie, Brittany, and I exchanged. You may have seen our videos for our quarantine exchange that we did with each other. So I have 2 books from Callie and 1 from Brittany, and I'm just going to go kind of in the order that I got them. And the first one that I got from Callie was Crier's War by Nina Varela, and all I know about this one is it is a futuristic sci-fi with a robot that falls in love with a human, I think. Something like that. But she's been talking about this nonstop, and the cover for the sequel came out, and it is awesome. I'm super excited. Next one I got also from Callie is Woven in Moonlight by Isabel Ibañez, and I am super excited for this one. This is Peruvian folklore? I don't know. I feel really bad because I don't remember which one this is, but I am super excited for this book. I've heard wonderful things about it, and I love South American folklore, so I am super intrigued by this one. And from Brittany, I got Reverie by Ryan Sala. I don't know a lot about this one, but there's a drag queen, I think. I think this one is a fantasy, but I'm not sure, but it's beautiful for one, and I'm very excited, again, to read this one. The next pile that I'm going to get into are my book box books. So I get 2 boxes every month, and then 1 box every 3 months. And I didn't get the Spherecraft box in the past 3 months because it's a quarterly, and the quarterly hasn't happened. But I did get my book of the month books. And what my book of the month book for May, I picked The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I have been trying to get into more thrillers, and this one really did capture my interest. And it's not too long, so it'll be a quick read, and I'm super excited. And then going along with that trend, for the June book of the month, I picked The Last Flight by Julie Clark, which is another thriller book, and this one kind of gave me Born Supremacy vibes, so I am totally here for that. Now, the other box that I get is the Beacon book box, which I absolutely loved. I have 2 books here from the last 2 boxes, and the book from May is Thorn by Intisar Khanani, and I read this book and I loved it. This is one of my favorite books of this year. It is a Goose Girl retelling, and I just go read it. If you want to hear more about my thoughts on this book, you can check out my 7 in 7 vlog, or more, it was like 5 in 7, but that's not the point. But highly recommend this book. It was so well done, and I cannot wait to read more by her. So I lied. So this was the April book, and then This is the May book. The book from May was House of Dragons by Jessica Clues. And this one, other than having the most beautiful cover, is told from 5 different perspectives, all about who's going to take over a kingdom. And there's dragons, and it's so pretty. And I have heard good things about this one. Again, this is the first book in a new series. Moving on. The next pile that I'm going to get to is the last book outlet order that I placed, which was at the beginning of May. So it's been a little while since I placed and got this one, but I did round up, I believe, all of the books. So yes, we're going to get into that really quick now. So I'm just going to whip right through these because lots of these were, again, cover buys or books that I have heard of but don't know a lot about. All right, so we got Dragonslayer by Duncan M. Hamilton. This is the first book in the Dragonslayer series. Again, a new dragon book, super short with a gorgeous cover. And we've got Life is Short and Then You Die, which is First Encounters with Murder, edited by Kelley Armstrong. I did read this short story collection and I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5, I believe. It was well done. Some of the stories were more interesting than others. They were all mysterious. All of them revolved around murder to different degrees, and it was pretty good. I would recommend it. The next book I got is The Deceivers by Kristin Simmons. This is the first book in The Deceivers. I believe this is a trilogy. I'm not sure though. And this is all about a spy school, and I liked this cover better than the other ones, so I'm glad I got this one. I also was able to continue a series that I started last year, and it is The Iron Codex by David Mack. This is the sequel to The Midnight Front, which I read last year and really enjoyed. This is a World War II fantasy story, so basically wizards fighting during World War II on the front lines. It's gory, it's raw, it's really in-depth, and there's a very interesting magic system that I really, really dig. The next book I got is actually following a series that I am hoping to read soon, and that is Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. This is the 3rd book in the Ember in the Ashes series. The 4th book comes out at the end of the year. I have read Ember in the Ashes, again, back when it came out, and I have not picked any of them up since, not for not wanting to, but just because I honestly forgot. And so now I am collecting these because these covers are beautiful, and I am very excited to get back into this world because I remember it being amazing and super gripping. I also picked up Lady Hotspur by Tessa Gratton. This is another in her, I don't want to say series, but her collection of retellings of Shakespeare stories. I don't remember exactly which one this one is. I'm super excited to get into her writing. I love this concept of the historical fiction, and I'm super excited to get into this one. I do have Queens of Innis Lear, and I'm very excited to read that one as well. Next book I got is another short story collection, and that is Dreadful Young Ladies and Other Stories, put together by Kelley Barnhill. All I know is that this one is a creepy set of stories about, like, murderous young women. So I'm intrigued. I don't know if this is fantasy or not, but I'm assuming so since the first story has the Sasquatch in the title, so I'm going to assume so. I also got The Wicked Deep by Shea Ernshaw. I have been urged to get this book by many different people, and I am super excited for it. This is a witchy story, and it's shiny. Really cool. I really love this cover. It's super pretty. The next 2 books I got are ones that are complete and utter humor, and they're meant to be taken like that, and they are All Those Explosions Were Someone Else's Fault, and They Promised Me the Gun Wasn't Loaded by James Allen Gardner. I don't know a lot about these, but for one, the titles themselves sold me. That's really all it took. The next book that I picked up is The Last Namsara by Kristin Ciccarelli. Now, this is a book that, again, I have heard wonderful things about this series. It is a trilogy, but it is a trilogy of companion novels that are told from the different perspectives each book, if I remember correctly. Now, since I almost finished Red Hood before my Owls, and I really need to get back and finish that book, I ended up picking up 2 more Christina Henry books. The first one is The Mermaid, and the second one is Red Queen. Now, these 2 are in 2 different series, but Red Queen was actually one of the first books I had seen by Christina Henry, but I find myself more intrigued by the Red Riding Hood kind of retellings, and now that she has a whole bunch of them, I do want to try and collect them because her writing is so creepy yet so well done. I absolutely love it. The next book I picked up is the second book in a series, and that is The Memory of Fire by Callie Bates. This is the sequel to The Waking Land, which I got, I want to say 2 years ago in a book box, and I love these covers. These covers are beautiful, and you'll see in a little bit I picked up the third one as well, so I now have the entire trilogy and can binge it. The last book from this order that I got is As She Ascends by Jodi Meadows. I am collecting this entire series. This, from what I understand, has wonderful rep for anxiety, as well as it has dragons, like little dragons that sit on your shoulder. So I am here for all of that, and I've heard that the anxiety rep in this book is super accurate and super well done, and I am very excited to see that. Alright, this next stack of books that I'm going to get into are books that I actually purchased for myself, or I ordered actually. I believe I ordered all of these online. A couple of them were pre-orders, a couple of them weren't. So I'm just going to start right here at the top. Volume 7 and Volume 8 of Delicious in Dungeon by Ryoko Kui. This is a manga series that I am working my way through, and I am enjoying this one so much. It's so humorous, and it kind of reminds me of a D&D session, but it's also all about like the creatures, and then they like cut up the creatures and eat them because you're in a dungeon, so use what's around you. And it has such unique characters, and it has all of these creatures, and I absolutely am loving this series. The imagination in this is just wonderful, and I am here for it. I cannot wait to see where this series goes. The next two books I got right after I finished Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa, which I also read during my 7 in 7 week readathon thing that I did, and I got Soul of the Sword and I got Night of the Dragon, both by Julie Kagawa. I fell in love with Shadow of the Fox, and I absolutely loved how it was told. I loved the story, I loved the characters, and so what do you think I did? I got the second and the third books in the series, and now I can finish it, and I plan to finish it very soon because I love the story and I need to know what happened. The next book I have here is one that I have actually already read. I read Callie's copy, gave it back to her, and promptly ordered my own. And that is House of Earth and Blood, the first book in the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. This was my favorite book so far this year, tied with Thorn, and this book is beautiful. It was so well done. Now, if you want to hear more about my thoughts on this book, I gave it a 5 out of 5. Check out my May wrap-up, I believe it was, which is when I read this book. And I plan on rereading this again and again because it was so well done and it was beautiful. I love the world building and I love the characters, and heart. I have feelings, guys. The next book was actually a pre-order that I got, and that is Don't Call the Wolf by Alexandra Ross. And I don't know a lot about this book, but for one, I love the cover. And I believe this is a fairy tale of sorts, a fairy tale retelling, and this is a bit of a longer book, but I am super excited to read it. The next book I have here is one that I got mostly because it is just the most beautiful book I have seen in a very long time. It is one that I have already read, and I also enjoyed. I read this one back in April. I think I read this one in April for my owls, and that is Master of Sorrows by Justin T. Call. And look at this cover, guys. Like, seriously? Do I need another reason to have bought this? I don't think so. The next book I have is The Kinder Poison by Natalie May. I did talk about this one a little bit in my anticipated reads, in my anticipated books of June, because this one literally just came out, and I am super excited for it. The first one in a new series that was giving me Hidalgo vibes for some reason, and I just miss Hidalgo. I miss the horse rides, and I want some more of it, so we'll see what happens. I know most of these books in this next pile I got at Half Price Books. We did go in there with our masks to check and see if they were doing exchanges, and they are. You just have to set up an appointment with them. So I've got a box and a half. I think I actually might now have 2 boxes in my car waiting for me to donate them. So we'll see how that goes. But the first book that I picked up there is Karamo, My Story of Embracing Purpose, Healing, and Hope by Karamo Brown. Now, if you don't know who Karamo is, he is one of the men from Queer Eye, the show on Netflix, and I have been collecting all of their books as they come out. He is the fourth one that I have, but I'm super excited. These guys have a lot to share with the world, and I'm super excited to read his stuff too, because he is a former social worker, I believe, and psychotherapist, if I remember correctly. So I'm very intrigued to read what he has to say and to kind of think about it as well. So that's really cool. The other nonfiction book that I picked up is The Tipping Point, How Little Things Can Make a Big Difference by Malcolm Gladwell. Malcolm Gladwell is a nonfiction author that has been recommended to me multiple times, and the most recent time I saw it recommended was when one of his books was actually recommended by Trevor Noah, and I am very intrigued. I want to get back into reading my nonfiction. I've only read 2 nonfiction so far this year, and it's already June. So I need to catch up, and I like being able to learn more about it and being able to apply it, and this is definitely something that I am intrigued by. So finally getting back into that. The next one is expanding on a collection that I have started years ago, back when I worked at Barnes & Noble, I believe. And I have been collecting the classics. This is really the only leather I ever own, because I'm not a big proprietor of leather. I ended up picking up Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. I have read the book Treasure Island several times. It's probably one of my favorite. I absolutely love pirate stories. And this is probably, I believe, the original pirate story that I started reading. And this one is the Barnes & Noble leather-bound classics edition. And so because of that, it has pictures in it, and it's got these beautiful silver edges. And I'm very excited to add this one to my collection, because now I have 2 books from their children's collection, while I have several from the adults, but I also have the King Arthur collection, so I can add this one to my shelf of classics. Super excited for that, and I probably will end up rereading this one again, because I love this story. The next book I ended up picking up is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This is the author of The Night Circus. This book has been around everywhere, so if you haven't heard much about it, I don't know what you're doing, but you should definitely check it out. This one is, I believe, a magical realism story, and honestly, I have only heard great things about this story and about Erin Morgenstern's writing in general. I've heard amazing things, and I do have Night Circus, so I probably will end up reading that one soon as well. The next book I picked up is actually probably the most battered book I have picked up from Half Price Books in a while, and that is Vicious by V.E. Schwab, because I have not yet read Vicious, and it's an assassin book, and it's V.E. Schwab, so I'm gonna love it. I need no other reason. And this is one that I have mentioned before, actually, in this video, and that is The Soul of Power by Kelly Bates. This is the 3rd book in the series I was talking about before. I believe this is just the Waking Land trilogy. I'm not exactly sure, but this is the 3rd book in the series, and like I said, it's just beautiful. I absolutely love these covers, and I'm kind of obsessed with them, so I now have the trilogy so I can read the whole thing. Alright, the next book I picked up is one that has actually been on my radar for quite some time, and I have been unable to find myself a copy, and I finally found it, and that is Last Call at the Nightshade Lounge by Paul Kruger. So this is interesting to me because it is a magical realism book, but it combines magic with mixology, so with like alcoholic drinks. So things like, what does it say? Vodka grants super strength, whiskey offers the power of telekinesis, and rum lets its drinker use fire blasts of elemental energy. How cool is that? And this follows a bartender who, they're literally monster fighting bartenders, and I'm just so intrigued by the story. It's not very long, but I have a feeling that I'm going to love this concept and love this story. I'm so excited for it. All right, I'm almost there, guys. The next one that I picked up is the 5th book in a series, and that is The Conference of Birds by Ransom Riggs. This is the 5th book in the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which I have read the 1st book of, and now I own the first 5. I believe this is going to be a 6-book series, 6 or 7, I don't remember which one. And I am super excited because we are planning on reading this series, I believe, next year for Serpent and Badger Book Club. So if we don't read it in the book club, I will be reading it next year. So you guys are welcome to join me in reading this series. I'm very excited to read the whole thing finally, because I remember loving the first one. All right, now that I have all of these crooked piles around me, I have one book left. Last one, guys. And that is We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan Barry. I used to play field hockey, so any book that mentions field hockey is right up my alley. And then add in the fact that this one also talks about witchcraft. And so it's witchcraft. It's a field hockey team of the descendants of witches. Need I say more? I actually waited to buy this book because I was going to see Quan Barry when she came to my hometown in order to do a book tour, but then COVID happened and it was canceled. So I did not get to meet her, unfortunately, but I am so excited to read this book. It is also like my favorite color, so it's just a sign that I need to read this book now. That's all I got for you guys here today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit on the lengthy side, but I'm sure if you made it this far, I don't know, leave a book stack emoji down below, or like a smiley face or something, or the tired sleepy face, because I'm sure we're all really tired right now. Not to mention it's about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night right now, so it's almost bedtime. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Now is the perfect time to hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and hit the subscribe button for more videos. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And if you want to be reminded whenever we post these videos, please hit the little bell icon down below. All of our contact information is going to be down in the description below, along with links in order to support the Black Lives Matter movement. So if you have any comments or anything else, please leave it down below. We love to talk to you guys. And until next time, bye!